Here at Microcenter, we're noticing a trend. More and more people are opting for higher resolution OLED monitors. And why wouldn't they? Compared to several years ago, OLED monitors are reaching reasonable prices that make them a no-brainer for pairing with that new build that you just put together. Throw a 9800X3D and a new 5080 together, you have a pretty sweet rig. So it's only fitting to pair it with the best monitor panel that you can get. Now I have here the MSI MAG 271QPX, which is a 27-inch WQHD or 2560 by 1440 resolution gaming monitor with a 360 Hz refresh rate. And you really need to check microcenter.com to see the price, because a QD-OLED panel at this price range with these specs is the perfect pairing with your current battle station or your next-gen build. Now, one important call out. This is a QD-OLED, which differs from your traditional OLED. Looking at other traditional monitor panels like IPS, you have a full backlight and several layers in the panel that alter the light output. But you get that backlight bleed when the monitor is emulating dark scenes in your games, which can be very distracting. With OLED and QD-OLED, each pixel emits its own light. So when there's a dark scene, the individual pixel representing a dark area is fully turned off instead of heavily polarized to reduce the backlight like an IPS panel. Now back to the difference between OLED and QD-OLED. With OLED, you have a white layer that passes through filters to produce red, green, and blue and white light. But a QD-OLED uses a blue emitting layer that works with quantum dots, hence the QD and QD-OLED. And these dots emit light that can be tuned to emit specific wavelengths of light. QD-OLED has more vibrant colors, it can maintain saturation of colors better, and has a wider gamut of colors. Now specifically for this MSI MAG, you have a 98% coverage in Adobe RGB, 99.1% DCI-P3 coverage, and 138.4% coverage in sRGB, which means you'll have the best color rendition, not just for gaming, but even for creative work that requires this level of color accuracy. Now, this QD-OLED panel also has a new sub-pixel arrangement that will give sharper images and clearer text. Before we dive too deep into the specs, there's one call out that I want to make on this monitor. This is a flat panel at a 16:9 ratio. Now, while we're seeing more and more ultra-wide and curved monitors paired with OLED panels, it's actually really nice to see a standard monitor size and shape with this QD-OLED panel. While I'm personally a fan of curved monitors for that immersive experience, my own desk setup is with a 27-inch 1440p monitor and a few side 1080 monitors as well. And that's just a personal preference of mine, but I'm sure a lot of people share that preference. This monitor would pair well in any multi-monitor setup without eating too much desk space, as you can see. And you can even pair this off with another matching twin, which would be pretty nice. Now for the spec-heavy part. This monitor is packed with features that make it well worth the investment. As a gaming monitor, the 360 Hz refresh rate is a wild feature. Now, I've always been content with 144 or even 165 Hz, but at 360 Hz, you can actually match the frame rate from Counter-Strike 2. Pair that off with a 0.03 millisecond response time, and it also has the Visa Clear MR 13000 standard, which ensures there are 13,000 more clear pixels than blurry pixels, which gives less ghosting than what you would have had to deal with in the past. At 2560 by 1440, you have a resolution sweet spot between 1080 and 4K. And at 27 inches, you have a great pixel density for sharper image rendition. With the color gamut coverage that I mentioned before, you also have HDR True Black 400 support, a 1.5 million to 1 contrast ratio, and a brightness of 250 nits. The panel also has an anti-reflection coating to reduce glare when using the monitor in less than ideal lighting situations. And one other important call out is the dreaded OLED burn-in. This is something that you may have seen in your phones as they age, where symbols or logos can burn into the panel when displaying them in a static location for long periods of time. Now, fortunately, this features a plethora of smart features that are all designed to reduce burn-in, such as pixel shift for periodically shifting pixel position so they're never static. There's panel protect, static screen detection to reduce brightness when the screen is static for long periods of time. There's taskbar detection to reduce luminance on those static logos on your taskbar. And there's also the multi-logo detection, which detects static logos and it reduces the luminance on those logos. This will ensure that your QD-OLED panel will have a longer lifespan. There's so much more happening under the hood here, with a graphene film for thermal conductivity to achieve a fanless and silent operation. There's also the MSI Gaming Intelligence app, which gives you the most out of this monitor. And for ports, you have your USB Type A and Type B for operating your keyboard and mouse through the monitor, which reduces cable clutter. There's also a 3.5mm audio jack for headphone support. There's 2 HDMI 2.1 ports, 2 DisplayPort 1.4 ports, and a USB-C for DisplayPort alt mode. And the monitor stand allows for full tilt, swivel, and pivot, so you can rotate it 90 degrees for portrait use. And it also has a Visa 100x100 mount, which allows for custom desk mounts, which we sell plenty of at Microcenter. So when it comes to QD-OLED monitors, Microcenter is the best choice to get yours. Check out our wide selection of monitors and definitely check out the MSI MAG 271 QPX 27-inch WQHD 360Hz gaming monitor. And remember, if you don't have a Microcenter near you, then comment #I want a Microcenter near me.